Let's go. All right. Hey, guys. Once again, we are here for another AMA together with Team YGG. We are so excited. We have a very, very special guest for you tonight, and it's one of our favorite games, man. So let me just share my screen and you get to see our faces. I almost forgot about that. So here we go. And yeah, once again, my name is John Sedano. I am the community marketing manager for YGG, and together with me is my partner in crime, Alexei. Are you there?
I'm here today, John. How's it going?
Yay, dude! It's finally nice to see your face. Like dude. This is a face reveal. It's one of the biggest events next to the token sale.
I need to get my ninja mask, to keep
Yeah,
keep.
and the laser eyes. Don't forget the laser eyes, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Jamie, why don't you introduce yourself? Go for it. Oh, sorry. 1 second, Jamie. Let me. I just need to get your mic. Let's do it again. So, Jamie, are you there? Can we hear you?
Am I live? Am I live? I
Yep.
think it says muted still.
You
Yeah,
good?
I'm good. Okay, yeah. I wish I had a chance to put a cool background behind me as well. I usually have the VulcanVerse behind me, and I make a
Oh yeah.
joke about talking from the gates of hell. But I'm afraid that hilarity will have to wait for another day today. I'm good. I'm Jamie. I'm obviously the CEO of Vulcan Forged, which we're actually a game studio, really. VulcanVerse is obviously our main big metaverse. Our office is based in Greece. There's 42 staff working in Vulcan Forge. We make
Oh
lots
wow.
and lots of games. There's 13 of us in-house in Athens. We're really trying to sort of bring the external people into the office in Greece now because it just things just work so much better when you're in the same place, especially with gaming. I mean, I know cryptos, everyone works remotely, but with gaming, you've got to be on top of every single computer and seeing what's going on there. But yeah, here I am from sunny Greece, and really glad to meet you guys. I mean, I followed Yield Guild Games a few months back, and you lot have just exploded overnight. I kept seeing like everyone kept saying like your name here and there. Oh, you should talk to YGG. There was someone in Dubai that said, "Oh, YGG," and then here you are, YGG. So congratulations on your success.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Thank you very much, and looking forward to I think a lot more success and potentially working together. Of course, as a kind of ecosystem of games. The Vulcan verse. I think it's important for the audience to understand that it's going to be much more than just a single game. There's going to be a whole ecosystem of games which we can hopefully, as a guild, maybe be involved with in various ways. So really excited. And I suppose moving on from that, obviously myself and Sedano have been having a really good look at VulcanVerse, but obviously for the benefit of the audience, we'd love to hear your kind of elevator pitch for the project.
Yeah, well,
I know that's a
um,
hard question there, but
No,
go
no,
on,
no.
go on.
It's all right. I mean, every time I do this, I always think I have something planned, but I don't. I kind of do it each differently because it is so sort of it is different. I mean, the best way to kind of picture it is it's a Greco-Roman fantasy world. Vulcan was obviously the god of fire and forging, and that's we started making NFTs years ago. And instead of using the word minting, we used the word forging. So that's how we came up with Vulcan. It just so happened I was in Greece, so the whole Greek mythology and lore and fantasy made it work. So it's a decentralized world, 10,000 plots of land, divided over 4 quadrants. You've got the snowy lands of Boreas, the underworld of Hades, the grasslands of Arcadia, and the deserts of Notus. So the way we differ from sort of usual decentralized worlds is that there is a very fixed lore and sort of fantasy element to it, with stories of every creature and every realm. In fact, we're very lucky because we've got the fighting fantasy. We've got a couple of the biggest fighting fantasy authors are writing all the lore for us, and they're releasing 5 game books in September, which they've been working on for a year now. In Germany, Italy, UK. Just getting these guys on board was wonderful for us because we didn't have to think of anything. They could just write it all and tell it all the lore, and we send it to our artists, and they make it for us. So I guess we're really straddling the two genres of gaming and decentralized world in one go. Probably for the first time ever, I think, in this level of gameplay and graphics. So yeah, World of Warcraft meets Minecraft meets Decentraland, I suppose, is the best way to summarize it.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And I have to say, like, myself and Jamie have been lucky enough to have number of chats about our kind of shared histories there in terms of a love of Greek mythology, a love of fighting fantasy books, even, which is a little bit of Sarutobi trivia. There is something which I've spent.
Forte Sarutobi-san.
Yeah, which is interestingly something I actually spent a significant portion of my young days kind of nervously rolling dice to see like whether I would fall in a pit playing. If for those who aren't aware, fighting fantasy books are these amazing kind of it's almost like in some ways like a game inside a book where you would kind of enter this book, you would kind of take these steps. Have you ever seen these, John, yourself?
Yeah, I mean, not personally, but then like hearing about it,
Yeah.
dude, like it boggles my mind.
Yeah.
Like this is the first
So
time I think
basically,
it's happening in,
you jump
in
it.
blockchain.
Oh no, the books though, John. So basically, you'd start these little books. They're like an RPG book.
Okay.
You'd start off, and then you'd have to take these kind of multiple choice decisions as you kind of adventure through these books. You'd often like roll dice to kind of give yourself stats. So it's almost like a video game, but inside a book.
Yeah, like they were called choose your own adventure games, where you'd go to turn to page 52 and whatever. And lately, of course, they're making this comeback now, which is why they jumped on board VulcanVerse. We're very lucky there, and so that's tying up with the sort of with the game as well. And of course, within these game books, they have to write all this lore and quests and conquests, and we can literally just sort of take that out and put them in the game ourselves. So yeah, I mean, we really think this is the year where blockchain gaming meets the mainstream. I think, I did a talk on why blockchain gaming is only just beginning recently, and it's just, I think it's very hard to get the balance right. A lot of blockchain games are just happy with their crypto and what's the word, staking and all that. But I think it's time that the new generation of games come out where they really bring the gamers in, as opposed to just staying in that niche of blockchain.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite a hard kind of spectrum. You have this kind of, I definitely see this kind of spectrum of like the games on the extremely kind of crypto end of things, where they kind of they get the crypto side right, but maybe aren't on the game. And then there's the game side where like they're trying too much. It's about finding that balance of being like, okay, a careful balance of like having a viable digital economy and NFTs that make sense. So kind of finding that balance in the middle, and it's extremely hard to actually get that. And I mean, I think that there is space for incredibly crypto orientated experiences, much more gamer. So I think there is a place across the entire spectrum for all the different games. And just quickly, we've had a good, like I said, we had talked before. What kind of led you to kind of choose Greek mythology as a kind of source for your lore?
Yeah, well, a lot of people say it's because I've lived in Greece for 4.5 years now. I've got a little, my wife's Greek, and we've got a little daughter together. And but it didn't happen like that. As I said, it was literally from using the word forging instead of minting to be cool or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we thought, oh, what's a cool name for our NFT minting platform? Oh, Vulcan is the god of forging. In fact, Vulcan is actually the Roman name of the god Hephaestus, I think is the name.
No, Hephaestus,
yeah.
is it?
Yeah.
Hephaestus, yes, he is. So in fact, it's not actually Greek at all. But we can't really call it Hephaestus world. It doesn't really have a ring to it. So we don't really
Hephaestus
VulcanVerse.
verse. Yeah, VulcanVerse does have a ring to it. That alliteration on the V's is great. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so that's the only reason. I just happened to be, and I was in Greek as well. So all our staff are Greek. So there's me thinking I know my Greek
Super
mythology.
appropriate. Law-wise, that's super appropriate. But John, you work
Exactly.
away.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say, man, like with all the blockchain games that are coming out now, I mean, it's really good to see like every other team like trying to like put something that hasn't been done before. I mean, like this game has all the elements that, I mean, it's the recipe for one like for it to be a huge game in this space. And how did you come up with this? Like, I mean, what made you decide that you actually wanted this concept and build it? Did you do it by yourself? Like, how did it happen?
But it's one of those things that just sort of happens in layers. I mean, obviously, we had a few other NFT projects before. Like, we had a digital art NFT site called Veriarty years and years ago, before the NFT hype started. And then we had this game, Block Babies, join some other NFT games. And we thought, well, we're making all these NFTs. Let's go for the metaverse. And the first ever virtual world we made was absolutely terrible. It was like, it was just these like Minecraft blocks, and people could just dump cars and logs and planes in it. And it was just, there was nothing to it. it. And then it's when I spoke to another Jamie, he's the same name as I am, the fighting fantasy guy, and he suggested, why don't you just theme this and make this fantasy based? And I was actually, what's the word, reluctant to do it at first because, the idea of decentralization is that anyone can put anything where they want. And I was like, no, we've got to let them do anything. And then the more I thought about it, in fact, even if you think you pigeonhole yourself in Greek mythology, you're not really, because you just open up, actually, all these stories of the Olympians, the Titans, the gods, the Minotaurs, the Centaurs. There is unlimited amount of material you can use. So it actually worked fine for us. And so for the land, for example, I mean, if you have a plot in Hades, level 1 plot, you're limited to sort of small tombstones and like small rivers of blood. You can only elevate the land a certain amount. And as you work your way up the levels, you can start building big palaces of the darkness and death and own dragons and sort of higher level Vulcanites. So while we are limiting the users with their materials and assets, what you do with them, it's just insane. I mean, when we open up the alpha and we watch some people build some stuff, I knew humans were creative, but you give them a few blocks of wood and some grass and some terraforming tools, and they make the most incredible things. So yeah, I guess that's how it started. Yeah, talking to the authors, really.
I mean, dude, like it's amazing that like these kind of stuff doesn't happen like overnight. And I mean, how long has the game have been how long has it been in development before you just recently launched the open?
Probably 10 months. 10 months. And for an MMO slash decentralized world, that is incredibly fast. And that's simply because we just put every fund we got from the land sale, we just bunged it, smashed it into, we just did it. We didn't, mess around like a lot of these crypto companies do. We just, you knew we were relied on, we were trusted, we just did it. And there's been a lot of people doing it. And of course, we haven't got World of Warcraft gameplay yet, but we've got all the ingredients there. You can fight, forage, spy, and material and builds, all that stuff. But now we finally got the network infrastructure. That was the hardest part of it. For thousands of players walking around and building on the blockchain, it's not exactly an easy feat. But now we've got that in beta. A few bugs, a few little, obviously some bugs in there now, but these are easily squashable. The fact we've got a stable server and everyone's saving and they can do it and they can use it, now it's the fun part. We just add layers and layers of gameplay on top of it.
Yeah, I think it's the foundation that's important. Yeah, Alexei, you were gonna say?
No, just in terms of the number of gamers you're currently in the alpha, how many have you got right now?
Well, we've only got 10,000 plots of land, which means there's a maximum of 10,000. The thing is, I should say the average person owns about 4 plots. So you're looking at about 2,000 to 3,000 max. Now, everyone's always thought, well, that's a bottle cap on users. But actually tonight, and I can't really reveal too much on this, Ammo, we're revealing how that actually we can cope with hundreds of thousands of people without actually changing the same amount of people in land. I mean, obviously we're not blind to Axie Infinity. We see what's made them very, very successful and adapt and improve. I shouldn't really say steal, but you know what I mean. But you see things what they're doing.
Gain inspiration from.
Gain inspiration from. Yeah, you see how they're working with bringing new people in without crashing the servers, and we don't want to waste the fact that we're on blockchain. It's more than just ownership. You've got currencies, you've got way to earn money on this. And I think that's what VulcanVerse, that's what we're releasing tonight, and how we're going to sort of allow rotation of lots of users while remaining the sort of same 10,000 plots. But in a short answer, a couple of thousand people max at the moment.
Awesome. I'm really excited to try that out.
You've got land, Sarutobi-san.
Yeah.
I was just supposed to ask. So what are the prerequisites actually, like Jamie, like for me to be able to, like build on the land? Like, is it also possible like to create other NFTs in the game, or is that something that you're working on towards for in the future?
Yeah, no, we do have a builders program. It's all ready to go. It's just when we launch it now. What we don't do is allow users to make Vulcanites because they're very sort of specifically 3D creatures. We need our own team. We don't want sort of random sort of animals walking around. And even the building assets, you can build them and sell them in the world, which could be a great, profit revenue for you. But they have to fit the law. You can't build I don't know, a plane for the Desert of Notus. I always use that example of a plane. it won't fit the law. So what we do is we approve the asset, and if we approve it, you can make 1,000 editions, 50 editions. You can sell them as NFTs, and people can have them. So yeah, there is a building program for materials and assets, but not for creatures, no.
I see. So if I was a player who wanted to like get in the game like right now, what are like you have like in layman's terms, like what are the 3 steps that I have to do to get started playing the game? Like right after this AMA, I like it. What do I do?
Okay, well, right now it's landowners only. So you'd have to get some land to start with. But after tonight, you'll realise you don't need land to play. But let's imagine we don't know about that. You get your land. You go to our Discord, .gg/VulcanVerse, and then you would ask to download the game, and it's simple as that. It would open it up. You would be level 1 everything, level 1 avatar, dirty sort of peon robes, peasant tattered, clothing. You would spawn in your plot, which would be Arcadia or the deserts, and you'd have the most basic materials, assets. But the thing is, before you can place an asset, you have to send your Vulcanite foraging for like 10 wood or 3 diamond. So it's a real grind to make it, before everyone was allowed access to the sandbox of level 5, 6, so they could build skyscrapers of enormous sort of Greek temples and stuff. But now it's a real grind up to get there. But the more you grind and the more you play, the more you earn. And that's something which is really big in this. The earning potential, you can stake Peer, which is our token in the land, and earn each level of land you go up. The more you interact with the world, the more you fight, the more you build, you earn something else, which is being revealed tonight. So yeah, it's a real play to earn economy. It's kind of got everything. And I always say on these chats how interesting it is for me from a socio-economic point of view of seeing people going into these worlds who've got the more land, who's got the little land, and the rivalries and the class system, and you're creating this.
The politics, the Game of Thrones, the cutthroat behavior.
It happens in Discord. Yeah.
Oh man,
like
and I think we've only just scratched the surface of like the dynamics here, and I think I do think that sometimes I get sucked into this kind of, from working in the space and from speaking to so many visionaries, I feel like sometimes like maybe I'm living in a different plane of existence to some people. But personally, I really do see like, this move towards like real digital economies of value. As these become, mature and viable. Like imagine like right now, obviously Axie has had this huge success with play to earn. VulcanVerse is developing, and a number of others are all kind of developing at the same time. When we see like a world with hundreds or even thousands of these viable digital economies, what is that world going to start looking like? And and how is that going to impact, thousands of people around the world? And obviously a question that I always like to throw as well is like, VulcanVerse is so colorful and interesting, and one of the kind of core benefits of blockchain, in my opinion, is the ability for assets to be interoperable. Have you guys explored many kind of partnerships with other projects in terms of like having your NFTs or assets be kind of functional in other games? Is that something you guys have looked at all?
Absolutely. We talk to all the big ones. We're all about collaboration, not competitors and competition. It seems to me in gaming that seems to be the way right now in blockchain. We're less sort of tribal about our blockchain or our crypto. We just want to collaborate. I talked to Sebastian. We've got a sandbox wizard coming out in
Awesome.
VulcanVerse, and I had a little chat with the guy from Somnian Space. Sorry, I forgot his name. He was showing me the VR capabilities. To be honest, there isn't a game we're not really connected with. Everyone's just so friendly and approachable, and it's nothing financial about the reason. It's just like we want to collaborate, we want to make it. We all see the vision of where it can be, and it's funny you say that. It's kind of scary about where it might go, and I think the more realistic these digital economies become. Humans are competitive by nature, and they like money, and they want to be unique. So these worlds where they can actually dress and level up and explore and earn money and become wizards or demigods, it's just like trying to become a CEO in New York and own the biggest flat. It's not dissimilar.
We're basically turning life into an MMORPG.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or maybe this is.
I was having an interesting chat with someone from the traditional gaming sector, and again, it seems like quite a lot of people in the space do have this attitude of life as an MMORPG, and even Gabby I was mentioning it to as well, and I think he says that's the way to think, life as an MMORPG,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
how can you level up, and how can we max out our levels and stats and get the best
Well, it
items?
is. It is. Maybe Earth is a blockchain of another
Of
alien colony,
aliens.
and we're the
Yeah, that's true.
Whoa!
NFTs. They own us.
Mind blown.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
I wouldn't be
And yeah,
surprised.
and just quickly to touch on, like you mentioned there, obviously like scaling and finding the infrastructure and so forth. That leads me on to again another very common question that I usually ask most games is in terms of like the choice of blockchain and layer 2 and scaling. How are you guys approaching that? Because I know that I know a little bit of the answer to that question, but
Yeah.
like for the sake of the audience, it'd be great to hear kind of the blockchain technologies that VulcanVerse is going to be leveraging.
Sure. I mean, we're on Polygon. It was an easy move for us because we obviously love the Ethereum community and how many games are on there, but just the fees and the speed of Polygon, and not so much that the support they gave us, which was just from the beginning. Every day we talk to the C-level guys. They're just like, how you doing? Can we tweet this? Can we do that? Just being so connected to them, it just it's a refreshing change from some other blockchains. So yeah, Peer is on Polygon. We've got a few bridges from Peer to Ethereum and BSC coming up to go in line with our announcement tonight. But yeah, Polygon's probably the main driving force for us at the moment. I think this pigeonhole into one blockchain. I think that's kind of 2018-19 now. I think cross chain and all these sort of variety. As long as it functions and it's you own it and it's NFT, that works for us. But yeah, so Polygon is the answer for that one.
Yeah, I mean,
But I have
yeah,
to,
go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
go on. Well, I was just going to say, but I do have to say, our NFTs did start on another blockchain. It started on VeChain many years ago, but unfortunately, they weren't very sort of developer friendly and gamer friendly, and that it pushed us away. Really,
Yeah.
sort of made our choice much easier. So I think if anyone wants to make a game, always go with the blockchain that generally offers support and will be there.
Yeah, I mean, it of course has to fit like what you're trying to accomplish, right? And I think I've seen that. Yeah, I think you've also mentioned it that like you have several integrations with other blockchains like Polygon, as you said. Like, how does it work for your native token PYR?
Well, PYR is on Polygon, so it's bridged to both. So it's an ERC20,
Okay.
but we use the Polygon layer in game. So it's just much quicker transactions, and we have a wrapped version of Peer on the marketplace. So it's all very very quick. I mean, it's just the fees and just the speed of Ethereum transactions just aren't acceptable for gaming anymore. So obviously we minted the Peer on Ethereum, and then we bridge half of it to Polygon, and that's the layer we use. Obviously, peers on KuCoin and Bittrex and all those places, but that's the ERC20 Ethereum version. So you can trade either version, but in game you do need the Polygon one. But we make it as easy as possible on the onboarding. We're really anti crypto jargon. We've got a fiat on ramp now. You can use your credit card to buy it, and we're partners with Venly, Arcane, so you can log into your account from the mobile games, any browser. Okay, it's not 100% decentralized, but it's also secure. So I think that's the way forward. If you want to onboard people, you've got to let go of some of the past technology a bit.
Yeah, I mean,
Is
dude,
there
that's
any
that's cool. Yeah,
is
I'm
there
sorry. Go
so
ahead, Alexei.
just super quickly, sorry. In terms of like on Matic, do you have any kind of liquidity on any kind of popular Matic dexes?
Yeah, we're on QuickSwap. Yeah,
Oh, awesome.
Okay.
yeah, we're on QuickSwap, and that's how our fiat on RAM works. Because that's the Polygon layer we use. We use the Arcane and 1-inch swaps. You sort of buy the Matic, and then it sort of gets swapped to Peer on the QuickSwap end, and comes back to your wallet there. So it's all done very automatically. I mean, honestly, blockchain is even in the 2 years I've been involved in blockchain, it's just gone rapidly. Just the onboarding process is so much easier than it used to be.
That's true. I mean, like I was
Absolutely.
just gonna say that like I think the key to mass adoption is not actually like teaching people about blockchain and crypto, but like subtly letting them use your platform without even them knowing. And then be there's gonna be a need for them to learn it, and even without fully knowing what it is, they're actually in the space. And like if you're able to do that with your game, then I don't even see any more reason for it not to grow to the scale that you want.
No, exactly. I think as long as they understand the concept of ownership and,
Yeah.
and then they see money, real money coming in, I
Yeah.
think they have to have a basic level of NFTs. And that's still, for a lot of the majority, is still hard. But I think this year's been great for mainstream exposure to
I
NFTs.
agree.
Even if the celebrities have been jumping on the bandwagon, blah, blah. I mean, I do think there's a little bit of a bubble forming with the digital art area of it because of that, the
Yeah.
dilution. But what it's done, it's educated, a lot of the Western world, the mainstream outlets about NFTs. Well, not even the Western world, the whole world,
Yeah.
really. So that's great for gaming.
Yeah, I agree. 100%, man. 100%. Like Alexei, I believe that that you well, like for me, what do you think about it? Like cuz YGG is it's a play to earn guild. So how would our business model fit into your game? Is there something that you've been working on for that, or is it already there? Like what do you think?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, you're asking Alexi.
No, yeah, I mean I
No,
was
I
just
think well,
bridging on from Alexei.
yeah.
Yeah. He might have something to add.
No, just like John says there, absolutely. Like obviously, as you've seen from, I think it's going to be an emerging trend more and more where games have this capability of allowing, some sort of model where someone can invest in the assets and retain ownership, but then enable other players to then kind of play, or maximize the value of those assets. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of, and obviously that's very much like how YGG as a DAO is hoping to invest in lots of projects. So how could YGG as a play to earn guild kind of leverage the systems to earn yield?
Yeah, and that's exactly how the real world works. I mean, you buy a nice villa or you buy a nice flat, you rent it out. You have a job, have a corporation. You want people to help work for you, do it like that. And I think that's exactly how the digital economies will work. I think play to earn is actually just a sort of an extension of how humans and corporations evolve in general. You need it. It's like I think there are people employing people for Axie Infinity to grind the workload for them and sort of make them some SLP. And I think that's just a natural progression. But as I said, after tonight, I mean, I think we've got something coming which will suit YGG absolutely perfectly, and so we'd love to be here a lot more than we were before.
Yeah, I mean that's great to hear, man. Um, like following up on that, if this is implemented, I mean, I might be like digging too much here, but then if once this system that you're thinking of is it gets implemented, is there gonna be a separate delegation system for that, or will we be using the current marketplace system that you have? Because like how
Well, the
Axie
market,
does their system when you can give you can give access to your account without actually risking your seed phrase, like your ownership. Like how does it work for
yeah.
you guys?
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what yeah, we're going to be kind of revealing something very, very similar to that tonight. Yeah, I mean, we want to be able to like landlords, people that own land. Land right now. When we sold land, it was $80 on the land sale each. Land goes now for 2,000 minimum. One went for 94K. We understand that not everyone's going to have that money to play the game, so we had to find a route where we can allow people to sort of rent out their land, land rentals, and it'll be a competitive marketplace. Rent my land, you rent my land, and then with that land, anyone can enter the game, and that's where they can grind and play and forage and fight and build and earn lava from lava is the play to earn token that we're supposed to kind of be releasing tonight.
Oh,
And
okay.
then they can grind that and they can earn it. And so yes, so for the VulcanVerse community, that's not the bomb I'm dropping tonight, so don't get all excited. But yeah, they kind of sense that's coming. So yeah, and
There's
it will be.
more. There's more excitement to come. And yeah, I mean,
That's
I'd
right. We're
love
gonna
to.
have a viewer drop off like that now tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, but they kind of sense
For
they
what
sense what's coming.
we've touched on something really interesting there in terms of like, okay, owning land seems to be very key to the kind of economic aspects of that. In terms of like, you know, with the kind of, I suppose maybe that's obviously without tying into the kind of new announcements currently, like in terms of the play to earn mechanics, can you kind of explain how that kind of works much at the moment without
Yeah,
touching on the new stuff, obviously?
yeah, sure. I mean, there are 100 ways to, at the moment, lava is off chain. So it's like an experience value you just sort of generate. And there are 100 ways to do it, like walk 2 kilometers, beat someone, forage this, find this. There are loads of ways to do it. And there are two reward pools, which is worth, I think, around $20 million over the next 2 years. One is simply by staking peer in the land. I mean, in order to get high level land, you stake peer. And if you stake peer, you earn peer compared to everyone how much they've staked. And the higher the level of the land, the more peer you've staked. The other one is the more you play to earn, the more you rank in the lava levels. And then you would take a cut of the play to earn pool every month of how much you play. So, but that was the system before where the lava was off chain. Now, obviously, when lava becomes on chain, it's going to be a lot more direct and simple. Where you know, you walk for 5 kilometers, you make 20 lava, and you know that translates to real cash. I see your beautiful family there popping in.
I'm being invaded by. Sorry.
I had my 2-year-old on an issue the other day.
Hey.
She literally just trashed the computer, and there was no way back from it. But at least they saw the hand coming to the to the camera. But yeah, very similar to most models. You know, the more you play, the more you earn. And what we don't want to do, whatever we don't want to do, we're never going to have a pay to play pay to what's the word pay to level system where, you know, whatever happens, if you want to level your vulcanites, your land, you're going to have to grind yourself. I mean, you can let someone in and do a bit of grinding and make
Yeah,
their lava, whatever,
I see.
but you're going to have to sort of, if you want to go to level 2 land, you're going to have to get that experience yourself to do it. We're not going to have any sort of like, you know, just
I
pay
see.
to get the highest dragon.
Yeah, I mean,
I've
yeah, I
lost
mean,
Pay to
it.
win.
yeah, you were saying, Alexei?
Oh, pay to win. Sorry, you know, you don't
Yeah, pay to
want to
win.
kind of,
That's the phrase I'm
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
for. Yeah,
you don't
none
want
of
to
that
kind.
right.
It's interesting though, because you know I've been talking to a lot of games developers recently, and you know we talk about realism and, you know, these economies being representative of real world economies as well. And I suppose with some blockchain games, like, I think it's important not to necessarily fight pay
Yeah.
to win, especially in kind of RPGs, right? It really depends on the nature of the game. But I think sometimes we shouldn't completely fight the notions of pay to win, because obviously that's where real value comes from. I mean,
Yeah.
why is a F-23 stealth fighter worth so much money? Because it's powerful.
Yeah.
That's why people are prepared to spend, you know, lots of money, or let's take, you know, an F-16 or an assault rifle. That's why an assault rifle costs more than a, you know, a bolt action rifle. You know, it costs more because it's more
Well, you know
effective.
your rifles, sir.
Yeah. Oh, I like shooter games, so what can I say? But like, you know, I suppose I think that again, though, it's down to balance, and I think with,
Balance,
especially
yeah.
with some kind of RPG worlds, I think like it will be a case that I will love to see, like, if you look at the ones where it's like they don't care, and it's like completely like, yeah, you can pay to win, like, because I mean at the end of the day, like, if you I think that'll be interesting to see, like, this kind of, obviously as a game, can it still survive? Because at the end of the day, like, if I wanted to play like a space MMO, for example, and I wanted to buy myself like a super swish like space fighter, like, I'd want to know that, like, why would I buy that? Like, I mean, I know that there's prestige, right?
Yeah.
But like, surely I'd want to know that I'd be able to like fly faster than the other space fighters, or have better photon torpedoes, or better laser cannons.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean, there's nothing
you
wrong
know,
with paying for better things. It's just the only difference we make is that like some people have got level 5, 6 Vulcanites now, which they pay good money for. The difference is we don't allow them to use it until they've got the experience playing in the world. You know, I mean, if you could just go into
yeah.
VulcanVerse and pay to level 7, pay to Dragon, that's end game. You know, at least play the game before you can use
Oh,
your.
that's a really interesting mechanic that you've built in there. So you're allowing someone to buy like a legendary asset that has like really specs that can be kind of maxed out, but it takes kind of the real effort and time to actually be able to leverage those abilities. So
Exactly.
that's it.
In
That's
fact,
interesting.
yeah, I mean, you can't even pull out a level 2 Vulcanite until you've got level 2 avatar status. So a lot of people, I mean, it hasn't, and we've released that for a while, and it hasn't diluted the price of them. People are still stocking up on the best Vulcanites because, they intend to grind their avatar to level 2. And when they do, they've got it, Some, of course, trading and sort of making some profit off them. But yeah, so yeah, you do have to put a bit of energy in order to use the asset, which still gives you the powerful asset, but at least, prove yourself worthy for it.
One really interesting mechanic that I heard in a recent AMA was the idea of separating yield generation and stats. So that way you could have assets that were like, okay, if I have a sword, maybe it's like an epic legendary sword. It looks amazing aesthetically, but so as not to kind of break a game in terms of mechanic wise, you have it so that it's like, okay, if I kill an enemy, maybe I get like 5 times the amount of yield. But it won't actually kind of like kill them any faster than like a normal sword necessarily. And that way it kind of,
Right, yeah.
you know,
So
so that way,
so it's
yeah, it's
so,
separating
so
the
it's
kind of
beneficial, but
stats
for the
and
rewards, not for the power, kind of thing.
Yeah.
yeah, which is because
Right.
then obviously what's really interesting there is you create this mechanic where, sorry, you have to forgive my hand movements.
No, no, no,
It
I was
creates
writing down your idea. I was stealing it.
yeah. It creates this really interesting incentive mechanism where it's like, okay, I can invest significantly in an asset, and there's a motivation to do so from an economic standpoint, which you can then funnel back into the item's value itself. So,
Yeah,
okay, we take X amount from the value of that, the sales are based around that asset, and then funnel it back into the value of it in the first place. It does create
yeah.
this kind of sustainable yielding mechanism, potentially, well, at least more sustainable than than some, and doesn't necessarily break kind of games and create these kind of
I
overpowered
love it.
individuals.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, okay, yeah, and it just opens up a whole other can of worms that people are actually foraging for items sort of to sort of help their yield as opposed to their power and their conquest. And and there are so many different routes in these virtual worlds. I mean, okay, we've got these gods that you can have, which gives you a bit more yield on generation, but we didn't really think about items that give you sort of more. And that's a beautiful thing about this. People going with different sort of roadmaps on what they want to do. We've got the builders, the creatives, the money earners, the people that want to be the best. And once you open up a world, it's you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, it's crazy because in my opinion, like the games that actually are that are play to win that aren't fun, that are pay to win that aren't fun to play are non-blockchain games because it doesn't make sense. But once you throw in like the concept of an economy where anyone can actually like earn depending on their leverage and like find their own spot, find their own job, then it totally makes sense. It makes it playable for
Yeah.
whoever wants to spend on it as an investor, doesn't want to play, or someone who wants to grind the game. Because like personally,
Yeah.
even let's say for example, like I had something to invest in VulcanVerse, but I didn't have the time. Then it makes perfect sense for me to actually like, get other people and build on the land, like work with what I have, and just put it together, and it's win-win for everyone. And that makes sense only in blockchain games, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah, it is. It's the idea of ownership, and it's the idea of knowing it can't be taken away from you, which allows all this and real money, of course. You've got to get it right. If you want people to buy you NFTs and spend money in blockchain, it's not cheap. Then you're going to have to get it right.
That's true.
And that's one thing I think that sort of hindered blockchain gaming in general. A lot of blockchain games have made so much money just on token sales and the most basic gameplay that they haven't got that sort of drive and ambition and desire to push it to the next level in gameplay. Whereas, Ubisoft and, these bigger games, they've got to make a decent game to sell it, when they're worth 500 million because they've sold, 2 million, 3 million copies of good games. A lot of blockchain games can just make millions now on a token sale, and they've got whatever they can say their company's
Or
valued
make
at.
millions off a promise of a game in a white paper.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah, and release the most bare bones, and that's it. So that there's no so I welcome the competition for blockchain gaming. I think it will push it in the right direction.
I think
Yeah,
so.
I agree. I mean, not to mention like aside from it, like like being like one of the most anticipated like blockchain games, like dude, like the artwork, like the lore, and even the cinematics is it's something like that really gets me going. So like we were talking recently, and you just showed us like one of your latest like teasers like for it. So I mean, what goes behind the scenes for this? Like, do you guys like sit down and like come up with a storyboard, and this is what's gonna happen in the first chapter? Like, how does it roll
Yeah.
out slowly?
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. I mean, it usually starts with the authors. They come up with the name of the Vulcanite and the beast and the quote and the lore for the landmarks. Then we pass it to the artists, and they make some sketches. And it goes to our 3D modelers and ZBrush. And then it gets rigged and textured, and then it goes to the animators. And then once we've got the actual animations, making the trailers is actually a little bit easier because you've got the world and the characters. You just bring the camera around, and obviously I don't do any of this, but that's pretty much the flow of how it goes. And you've got people dedicated to different areas. I mean, in our office is probably mostly artists and a couple of coders. Really, a lot of the really heavy networking stuff we've got done in Ukraine and UK, and trading. We've got a whole trader company that works for us. But yeah, it's for me. It's fascinating. You just hear the idea from the author. Oh, let's make a Minotaur. Call him Asterion. Here's our quote. Give it to our artist. Draw a sketch, and you've got this beast of a Minotaur comes in. Then it will get sent to the 3D model, and it gets turned in there. This is fascinating. I've never made a game this big before. We've never made a game this big before. So it's also a learning curve for us. But yeah, pretty much how you described it.
I mean, it's
touches on
pretty
just
sick.
a real
Oh, go ahead, Alexei.
that
Sorry.
just super quickly there. That kind of leads me back to an earlier question of SEDANO's there about like the team size, and I think you mentioned 30. With you guys have at least one game with other games as well, and the potential to kind of really develop all of these different game experiences. In terms of like scaling up that team, how do you think? Do you have like plans to scale up the team much more? Do you think, or
I think it's 42. I think we've got right now, and I think for what we're doing, we've got seven of our own games, in-house games we've made, like a kind of Hearthstone game. We've got all these different games, and I think for me right now the goal is to get them all stable. I mean, every game is now finally reaching their full release. They've all been in alpha and beta for the last year. I don't want to sort of be the company that keeps promising another new game, a new game, new game. Let's just get all these games out, and for the rest of the year, it's going to be user acquisition for us and cementing our place in the metaverse world rather than just keep going. And then obviously if and when that goes well, we'll get bigger and bigger. I hope, and no reason why we can't make new games. But VulcanVerse alone is just such a sort of huge experience. We've got these other side games which themselves are kind of cool and really big standalone games. It's kept the community very patient, Otherwise, they'd be sitting around waiting for VulcanVerse for 9 months. They've had these other games to play and sort of compete with. But yeah, definitely sort of cement where we are now, I think, first, and get these out and running before we become.
Oh no, absolutely. But even just to achieve that, though, do you think that there's going to be a need to expand out the team at all, or do you think that the 42 that you have right now is that's the answer to life, the universe, and everything, isn't it? So like,
42, it is, yes, yeah. So Doug says that 42 is the perfect number, and our goal is to bring them in-house. Do you know what? Most of the costs are wasted outsourcing. I mean, we could probably save 300% overheads, just bring everyone in-house. That's the real trouble. And Greece has got a real brain drain at the moment, where they all go to the bigger companies in America and England. Where in London, if we needed a Unity developer, they'd be there that afternoon giving us their CV. I mean, literally, we cannot find any more coders in Greece that we need of our skills. So some things we just have to outsource. And now we've left the EU, UK has, it's very hard to bring people in from the UK and America. And so we're more likely to bring in people from, Eastern European countries, or even from the Asian countries. We want them, but getting them a visa is a pain in the arse. So, yeah, it's hard to get a lot of good talent in Greece. It really is.
Just to add to that, I mean, in terms of like not only like the dev side and like the back end of it, like for the community, like are there any specific positions that you're looking for like in your community right now? Are there like some slots to fill that maybe people here in YGG could they could help you with? Like, what are you looking for exactly to be part of the team or the community?
Well, obviously, Oh, aside from developers, we've literally probably only just started the marketing machine like probably a month ago, really. I mean, we've always been like build first, market after. You know, there's no point marketing something that's unfinished. So, you know, we welcome anyone. Well, we've got this thing called the Cadallion program, which is like, I think it was translated as Vulcan's minions back in the lore, where you could sort of help spread the word and sort of get awarded lava and such likes if you sort of help sort of getting stuff out. We don't want to promote any sort of crappy shilly or spammy stuff,
Yeah.
but if you're making some good content, some videos, some tweets, then we simply reward the community. Some people have just made Wikipedia entries for no reason at all, and we'll send them some peer for it because they made the effort, they deserve it. So yeah, all of you guys are welcome to pop over and sort of any sort of encouragement and help with our outreach will reward proportionally.
I see.
Absolutely, and I think we're really excited to do something with regards to those daily active user numbers as well. I mean, we're a vast army of
You
passionate
are.
gamers here, so
I could
we're
see,
really we are
yeah.
looking forward we are looking forward to rain terror on our enemies in the world in the world of
Yes,
VulcanVerse.
perfect. You're a Hades
Yeah,
man.
yeah, oh yeah. Well, I think you're Boreas, I think, isn't it? Though we said, is it?
Boreas, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
The snow, the Minotaurs, and the
yeah,
Harpies are up there. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's funny.
I'm a big Minotaur fan, I have to say.
Oh yes, yeah.
Mm.
Well, Asterion's
Premium,
probably.
premium. Yeah, yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
mean, to add to
Awesome.
that, dude. Like, I mean, VulcanVerse, it's basically it's a genre by itself. But then, like me as a player, like, what other subgenres like can I find in the game? Like, not only like now, but like maybe in the future, like up to the extent that you can share.
Yeah, well, we've created 4 other worlds, 2 of which we've released trailers on already. One is called Elysium, the other called Tartarus. So you can only access there if you have a level 7 god. So Elysium was the heavens of the gods. And it's like this beautiful sort of, utopian green fields and unicorns, that kind of place. You go up there if you get a level 7 Olympian. And whereas Tartarus is the other side, it's a depth as hell. And if you scroll through our Twitter, you can see that you like the trailers. We've shown off the other worlds. They're completely different. In fact, they're already pre-built by us, so we've been given free reign on making these sort of other worlds. You've got the Minotaur's Labyrinth, you've got Exandria City on the Lotus Elysium, and that's where all the PvE playing will go on. Outside the own plots of Vulcan land, you get a level 7 god and go there, and where the special NFTs will be found, and you can do all the fighting up there. But yeah, we've got to keep with the sort of Greco-Roman mythology, of course. But the minute you say fantasy, you can kind of get away with anything, really. It kind of gives you, poetic justice for putting anything in there. I mean, if we've got a sandbox guy, we made the sandbox wizard guy. We turned him into this sort of dark sort of wizard, Notus Vulcanite. As long as it's sort of, you can bend the truth a little bit to fit it.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know if you've played Assassin's Creed Odyssey there, for example. Did you give that a shot?
Yeah, cool.
And that they definitely were liberal with their handling of the mythology.
They were, yes, they were. Yeah. So if they did it, we can do it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Are we moving to community questions, John?
Yeah, I guess like we could. So yeah, guys, you know the drill. So we're gonna be asking. We're gonna be like while Jamie's here, like just shoot down your questions. Like we're gonna be going through them, and yeah, let's do it. So I see here. I have one question. So okay, here if I was, sorry, if I was to buy a plot of land, like can my other friends play on it? How does that work?
Yes, rental contracts are a thing. That's no big surprise. It's an NFT. I mean, if you trust your friend, you don't even need to do a rental contract. You can just send it to them. It depends how good a friend they are. You could give them your login, you could send the NFT to them, let them build on it or send it back. It depends how close you are with your friend at the end of the day.
All right, I see. Like I'm not quite sure about this, but then is the MMO feature of it like like hopping into one map and like everyone being there all at the same time? Is that already rolled out, or is it something you're gonna be like something happening in the future?
No, everyone can jump. Anyone can jump in now. I mean, anyone who's got land can go in there, and there's like hundreds of people walking around. You literally can see the building going on in real time. Right now, you can walk past the plot. There's a video we posted the other day of some guy literally made a hole underneath a guy, and he fell through the grass on there. Yeah, no, it's fully multiplayer.
Yeah, so I mean, like, yo, guys, like, I think like it's a good time to like check out the game, like, like especially for the YGG team. Like, it's only been a handful of us. It's mostly your OG players who have been populating our text channel, but then like we have a whole army of like players like who are really interested in it. So I mean, like guys, so it's VulcanVerse.com, right? And yeah, dude, check out the
Yep,
game.
yep.
Like, I'm pretty sure that you guys have other friends there who have gotten in early, and that would be a good idea for you guys to get first-hand information, like even if you like decide to get some land plots, like decide to like invest in the game or anything, then I mean, dude, I shouldn't see any reason like for you guys, like getting started as early as now, man. Yeah, Alexei, how about you? Do you have like any like questions? Like, I mean, we're 5 minutes away for the first hour of our AMA. You might want to add something to that.
Yeah, no, I was just kind of having a quick glance at the kind of the VulcanVerse channel to see what kind of people are asking. It looks like we've got some of the VulcanVerse elite in there, kind of answering people's questions. So that's great to see. Again, no, seriously, obviously that's a really good thing to see. So hopefully, like we can keep that kind of cross pollination happening as time moves forward. I suppose a really good point to mention is that like we're always as YGG looking for like some really passionate people to help push our kind of positions in games forward and help us there. So if there is, I think a quick point to make for kind of the VulcanVerse OGs in the audience is that if you feel that you're interested in seeing how you can help YGG have a presence in VulcanVerse, definitely reach out to either myself or John. Could be worthwhile if you're interested in repping YGG in the VulcanVerse. Definitely reach out to us. I'm trying to see there. Yeah, no, like I said, I'm like I said, I'm a huge fighting fantasy fan. I'm a huge Greek mythology fan. I'm a big fantasy and RPG fan. So I'm really excited to jump in and get playing the alpha and like I said, raining terror on my enemies. That's the main thing.
Beautiful,
So
beautiful. Yeah.
they're awesome.
I have a real quick question, like here from Ataric. So he's asking, like, would there be a target date to release updates about gods and Olympians? It's what most piqued my interest, and yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, the Gods Olympians are already out, actually. We've got the Titans, there are 12 of each. You've got the 12 Titans and the 12 Olympians. And what we've done is that they're called dynamic NFTs. So
Okay.
you buy them as a baby, and what you do is you level them up all the way up to an adult. And as they go up the ranks, they give you more buffs for your plots and your play to earn. So yeah, they're already out, and there's an entire page dedicated to the Titans and Olympians on the website. But yeah, come to the classroom of our Discord. We'll help talk to you about those, because of course we can't have Greek mythology without Zeus throwing his bolts down on
Yeah.
Aphrodite, seducing whatever she does and that
All right.
stuff.
Cool. Actually, I have another question it's from Walter Chambers. He asks, Jamie, you've mentioned before, Copis is your favorite Vulk, but the big question is, what's your favorite quadrant?
They know, they know back in our Discord that I can't answer that. I have to remain completely neutral and say Vulcan City is my favorite quintuple quadrant. It's not a quadrant. I live in Vulcan City in the dungeons of Vulcans, tearing away at his forge. Sounds a bit funny, but yeah, he's put me to work down there.
Whoa. Don't tend. Oh, I should just don't go
Working
there.
away on the anvil, down the bottom there. Yeah. Hammering away. I don't have one. They're all equally beautiful.
Yeah.
I feel like Elon Musk. If I said Notus or Arcadia, would be like that's the place. The price of the plots would go. Maybe change. I think we did that
don't-
once with the Vulcanite. We said some Vulcanite had some power or something, and just they all got taken off the marketplace immediately and just put back on.
Oh yeah, don't do it. Don't do an Elon now.
I mean, like, you, Jamie,
No.
personally, like, do you like how often do you hop in the game and like just mess around with it? Like, are you like are you active in it? Do people know that it's you? Like,
Not
who's-
really, not really. I mean, I leave that to all the games. I mean, I know my weaknesses. I mean, even Berserk, which is like a Hearthstone game, I probably played 2 of those games, and because I'm just not a card collectible game. Magic. I used to play Magic when I was young, but I leave it to the real gamers to go in there, and obviously I see how it's progressing and the bugs and organize it all. But in terms of gaming myself, I just haven't got time to even actually go in there. I pop in there, but I just see it all unfold. So yeah, I mean, when it's out fully, I'll be in there. I've got the best plots in the world, of course, the corner plots of Vulcan City. You know, in the land sale, I sort of made sure I had those first. Actually, we gave one away in a competition. I think they sold it for about 60K or something ridiculous.
Okay, wow.
But yeah, that's where you'll find me. I'll be at the corner of Vulcan City, welcoming you all in.
I see.
Like, that interesting to touch on those kind of like high price tags. I suppose, like, as we see the world evolve, I mean, we might see these start to look small, even maybe.
You just don't know. I've never understood it myself, and that's me coming from someone that sort of makes NFT game, but I've never understood the pricing of it. But I think it's because people, when they have a lot of crypto money, it's different than buying it with your credit card. I don't think someone would buy an NFT with their Visa for 50K.
Oh,
You just
Oh yeah, it's
But when
definitely
you
the
put
same.
like
It's like
20,
I don't care paying a $100 gas fee on Ethereum.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I'll pay $100 gas fee, but then I go to the shops and I'm like, "Oh, I'm not paying $5 for that now."
I know, it's
Crazy.
mad. I had to go to Dubai recently to do this talk on gaming, and I flew economy class, and I'm like, but I'm just used to that, I just don't want to spend more than I have to. I spent like, 80 euros on the tightest little plane like that, but then I'll spend like, a couple of grand on some NFT somewhere and not even blink an eye.
Yeah, I think we're definitely not alone there. It's like a digital, and I suppose that's an interesting thing that points to people's kind of attachment to digital assets, and them really having genuine value. So even more so than potentially traditional assets or things, everyday things that you spend your money on. It's like, okay, I could spend, I could go out for a really fancy meal in a restaurant and pay 200 quid, and it's like, oh, that's a little bit
Yeah.
expensive. I mean, I probably might do that, but at the same time, you wouldn't bat an eyelid to spend like $2,000 on like on a level, or 4 grand on a level 7 vulcanite, or
That's right. Well, the food only goes to one place and then it's gone, isn't it? Your Vulcanite's there forever. The
Well,
food.
this is the thing, yeah.
That's true.
Mm.
I mean, Jamie, like before we like we're about to wrap up, but then like I have like from my end, I'm not sure about Sarutobi, but then like I have a good question here. So how did you get artists like those who work for he says MTG, so I'm assuming it's Magic the Gathering, like collab with your team.
Yeah, I think he's probably thinking World of Warcraft actually. But yeah, we were just very lucky with our artists. I mean, we had them working on another game we were doing before, and in fact, the whole VulcanVerse team came from other games we were doing before. You just find someone that just sort of did the best part in that game, and you just kept with them. Jimmy X is one of the best ZBrush sculptors in the world, like hands down. Like this guy wins competitions, and he's Greek and he lived near me. So it just worked perfectly. So he's in our office, and we're actually turned out to be best of friends. So yeah, I think we just hit the jackpot with our artists. To be honest, very lucky.
I see.
I didn't force them on pain of death or anything.
And like, what are the odds? Like, you guys are like you live close to each other. I mean, it's just it's basically like set in stone. It was meant to be that you guys had to work.
We always say that, yeah. We always say when I met him, he was just an incredible artist, and I was working in I don't know what I was doing, proofreading or something, and it just all the stars aligned really for this. We do say that a lot. And that's how life is, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
It is
Just
indeed.
I know I said it's my last question, but like I just saw something really important. Look, to what Tara is asking, like, will there be a PVE during the quests? What will developer created quests look like?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're going to be setting some Vulcan quests with kind of basic things like you've got to kill so many Vulcanites or go to so many places. But one really great thing we're adding is create your own quests, CYOQ, where users can actually sort of fill up a peer pool and offer, and people can join these pools to sort of to partake in their quests. You can literally set your own sort of missions you want to do. But most of the PvE fighting will be in the other worlds for now, because we don't want to sort of we want to get a stable 10,000 people in there owning land and building and leveling and all that stuff before we start adding a load of World of Warcraft style quests and such. But most of them will be, very similar. Get an army, go there, kill X, Y, and Z, find X, Y, and Z, and do that. But the gameplay features are going to be added layer by layer this year, step by step. So stability first, I think, is the key.
All right, I see. I mean, yeah,
Smart move.
totally makes sense. Yeah, I'm good. Like, Alexei, or do you have anything?
I think, yeah, no, look, I think I'm good as well. We could probably sit here all day talking about things
Yeah.
if we had our way, you know.
Let's give away the
a few
land. So yeah,
a few sambucas and lots of chatting about Greek
that's
mythology.
right. Uzo, my friend.
Oh,
Uzo.
sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Jamie, do you have like any last words for the YGG community before we end the AMA?
Just that you guys are strong and passionate, and we love it. There are so many discords we visit which are just ghost towns, and just just bring the love over our way, and we'll bring the love back to you lot. And lots of collabs, and we're very welcoming our side, and you guys are too. So big shout out to the VVOGs in the Discord also. And yeah, hope to do this again sometime.
Like, yeah, I
Absolutely. I
mean,
think
thanks, man.
let's definitely revisit if we get a a viable presence in VulcanVerse. Let's revisit and see how many people we've managed to conquer.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we're gonna be like wrapping that up again. Like YGG, like everyone who's been here, like the VulcanVerse community, like you guys have been amazing, like helping us out, like with the questions. Like I mean, we didn't have any good questions left to ask Jamie. You answered it all in the chat. But then again, like thank you to everyone who's participated, and don't worry, we didn't forget about the giveaway. We're gonna be doing that right after when we let Jamie and Alexei take their time and go. But then, yeah, once again, my name is John SEDANO, Community Marketing Manager for YGG. And Jamie, it's been an honor. Like, looking forward to the project. It's gonna be huge. I know it. And like, thank you so much, man. So, Alexei.
You
Yep.
too. You too.
Thanks to everyone that's come in and looking forward to playing the game, and thanks Jamie, and yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, see you guys.
Absolute pleasure. Okay, thanks a lot, lads. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye bye.